Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of Breaking the Ice with Dre. And on this week's episode, I am bringing on one of my newer friends that I've actually gotten to really feel like I got to kind of gain a kinship with. And he's also local to me, which makes it even awesomer because I don't have any really major local friends. I mean, I have some, but it's nice to have one that's actually into toys and all the other geekery that I like. And I want to introduce my new friend, TruStarscreamer. Welcome to the channel.
What's up? What's up? How you doing today, sir?
We were just talking briefly backstage, and it was one of those days that as we're recording this, it was a crazy day. But it is better now because I actually had some coffee, which y'all know you'll always see me with a cup of coffee on this show, and a bottle of water. And just the energy's flowing. But I want to know, how are you doing today?
Fully functional and at your service. I am caffeinated. I am running. I'm a typical Gen Xer. I run on caffeine, frustration, and anxiety.
And memes sprinkled in there.
That's just my soul crying from the inside.
Yes. Yes, I love it. So while I have this, I get this up here. I mean, for people that may not know you, tell us a little bit about, where, like, tell us a little bit about, like, what you love. Just give me a little blurb on who you are before we get into the stuff.
I always call myself, I am like to call myself an omni geek. I am into, if it's nerdum, I am into it. I know way too much about everything from anime to old science fiction to reading to music to Star Trek, Star Wars, Lord of the Rings. Yeah, it's there. I probably my oldest passion was Transformers. That was probably what got me down to the path, hence the name TruStarscreamer. Beachcomber's a pass. I can understand why. But
I grew up with him. This is my favorite.
Oh yeah,
I got it for my birthday.
But I mean, way back in the day in 1984, and the movie came out. I know they killed Ironhide, they killed Prowl, they killed Prime. I was fine, and then they killed Starscream, and I was bawling like a baby. So that was me. I'm a firm believer. I was always thought the bad guys had the cooler toys. I'm that guy. And basically, just in general, I'm a walking bank of information. I've thinned down my collection, but I still probably have over 900 action figures from Marvel Legends to F Monster Arts, Storm Collect. Yes, it's down at some point. It's down here, or it has been down here, type of thing.
True.
So
I definitely, he doesn't want me to come over because I'm gonna definitely leave with some things.
No, I know everything that's down here. If it's missing, I'll know it. It's weird. I don't know. It's how my brain is. So I mean, but like I said, I love it all. I do toy reviews on my YouTube channel. I run the Figure Action Podcast every Thursday at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on the Figure Action Podcast. And after that, I'm an open book, man. Whatever you want to know. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I like to cook.
He does. He showed me some really awesome pictures that I told him he ain't that far from my house, and if he invites me over,
I will. I got 4 grills, and I know how to use them.
See, me and him are gonna have to talk off back in the backstage area, and we will definitely have since he does live closer, folks, do expect us to hang out at some point and eventually either me show up on one of his shows and or a collab again, because he is, ironically enough, going to be coming on Cultura Pop next Saturday, August 22nd. Yeah, remember?
Yes.
see, I'm organized. I have it on my schedule. So yeah, he's gonna actually come on, and we're gonna talk something that's one of my, I would say, my largest passions, which is tokusatsu, sentai, kaiju. We're gonna have a little bit of a sprinkling of that for anybody that wants.
You say we're talking sentai?
Yeah, we're gonna
Oh,
have
so then no
sentai.
schoolgirls and tentacles. Okay, I misheard that. I
Yeah, yeah.
apologize.
So yeah, we're not going into that. That's for like the adult stuff. We that's like a special
That's for the
anime
members channel,
episode.
folks. Please keep in mind, and we'll
Hey, let me get me there. Dave already. I will shout out to Dave's Dimension. I know this show is usually about my guests, but I will shout out Dave's Dimension. He did last night say he wants to get me to 300. I was really impressed with him for wanting to put a challenge out to his subscribers. I actually set a goal for myself to hit 1K by December 31st of this year. So we'll see if we can make that happen.
I'm stuck on 776, so trust me, I'm trying to get there.
No, we're going to get you there. So, see, again, this is why we do this, folks, because I love people in the community. And moreover, if you are a local person and a friend of mine, I definitely want to get you out there. So, please, while you're watching this, if you ever get the chance, you guys, I'll have all his stuff in the comments below when I have this video go up, which will be live this Friday at noon. And you will be able to subscribe to his channel. And I'll give you some of his other socials at the end of this. So, what I like to do is when I bring somebody on here, I always do this, because I've talked about this before. We do these kind of icebreaker questions, and I always hated them when I worked in corporate America, which I still do, and when I was an educator and we had to do it in the classroom. But I always turned it on its ear when it was my students because we had more fun. So these were questions I wanted to gain a better knowledge of. Now, obviously, TruStarscreamer and unless he allows me to call him by his government on the show, sometimes I do that, but I'm
You're
not going to
fine.
do that. Okay.
First name
Yeah,
is fine. So
yeah, I'm not gonna go by his last name because that's disrespectful, and we're not doxing nobody. But Dave and I, because everybody knows my name's Andre, but everybody calls me Dre. So he's like anybody that wants to, follow Dave. I have all his stuff at the end. And when I say Dave, this is this Dave TS, not Dave Double D. Because I actually have another friend named Dave, and
not double D.
he's Triple D. It's a long story, and I will get into that on a separate show. If I'm ever brought on somebody's show, I will explain that. But the first question I asked him is always fun, and I love to see who are your favorite superheroes and supervillain, like superhero, like what is the one? And here he picked two that I was quite impressed with. So I want to get his insights onto this Green Lantern in particularly because I like this one a lot and the villain. So please give me the deets on Kyle Rayner, Green Lantern.
Kyle Rayner was he did not what I like about Kyle Rayner, what I respect about Kyle Rayner, he did not want any of the superhero-ness. He was not the bravest. He was not, he was not picked by a Green Lantern of you show great willpower, so you are worthy. He was literally the body that Ganthet ran into and basically said, "You're good enough." And then he just grew into the character. Of course, in the early 90s or late 90s, the whole women in a refrigerator concept the trope came from his book of with his girlfriend being killed and stuffed in a refrigerator. So he went through tragedy after becoming a hero. Um, he had a legacy that no one would believe him in. I probably really the book that I think always will showcase him the best, which is still one of my favorite runs of Justice League, is a line called The Obsidian Age when Joe Kelly wrote it. And if you have not read that, first of all, I love Joe Kelly. He's when it comes to comic book writers, blind faith. If he's writing a book, he's in my top 5 comic book writers. Joe Kelly's the reason why Deadpool is one of the reasons why Deadpool is as popular as he is today. It still goes to Fabian Nisha, though, for that. But Joe Kelly made the modern Deadpool that we love. Joe Kelly did amazing Spider-Man books, incredible X-Men. He did the Superman story, Better Tomorrow, not Better Tomorrow, but the one with the Executive Elite.
Yes.
But his run on that Justice League, first of all, the entire story was so he could do one joke, which was amazing. But how he portrayed Kyle Rayner as holding his will together literally for 5,000 years type of thing. And Kyle Rayner went from literally being guy on the street to now becoming the epitome of what a Green Lantern's supposed to be. It is canon that Hal Jordan says that Kyle Rayner is the best Green Lantern. So,
That's interesting because a lot of people, when people think Green Lantern, we automatically go to the big two, the Hal Jordan, and then we go to John Stewart. I know that, as an avid comic book reader that I've been for my whole life, I would say that, you could add in these recent years maybe a Jessica Cruz. I would throw Kyle in there as well. I think Kyle and Jessica both being of Latino descent, one, I thought that was great as representation, but two, I thought it was cool because their paths are so very different and they both deal with trauma. And it's an interesting, like, I've read a lot of the Jessica Cruz stuff. I did read some of the Kyle Rayner stuff, and
well,
it's the level of trauma is interesting.
well, Kyle Rayner also because he was also that era. Um, you know, at that time, this is going to sound weird, but legacy heroes. DC at the time was doing an amazing job with legacy heroes, which they then, of course, abandoned. In fact, of all the legacy heroes, he's probably the last of the legacy heroes. When I was reading back in those days, this Wally West was my Flash. Everyone was always comparing Wally to Barry, and then they finally brought Barry back, and this feels like Wally's day as the Flash has been completely forgotten when Mark Waid wrote some amazing stories with him. And
Very
then what
true.
I've done to Wally West since then has kind of broken my heart because he was my Flash. Um, so I remember that there was a book where Kyle Rayner, Wally West, and Connor Hawk were it was a 3-part crossover between the 3 books of these 3 legacy characters, and I loved that. And now it's just he's the last of those legacies. I thought it was a great attempt that DC was trying at the time to move past some of that old guard, but of course fandom didn't let it happen.
So I have not. I own the book of the first volume of the Absolute Green Lantern, who is, I know, completely
I haven't
different.
touched that yet. I've not read Absolute Green Lantern yet.
So I will not. You and I can talk off about that. I once you actually get that in your hands, you and I do need to talk about that because I think the Absolute Universe
Oh,
for me
Absolute
is.
books. I mean, I've been reading. I was reading Absolute Batman, then my source got cut off. I started reading Absolute Green Arrow. Amazing, by the way.
Fabulous book.
Um, again, that's one of the parts where DC is doing it right, and by they do their multiple worlds probably better than anybody else. And yes, I think they reboot, which Marvel never does, which is absolutely horrendous.
We're kind of getting that with Midnight, though. I think in
It's not.
October, and I know it's not really a
Midnight's going to be
reboot.
its own world. I
And
don't
it's
think
going to
that
be Elseworlds. It's going to be Elseworlds adjacent, kind of like Earth X, how they had
exactly,
that
and that's
that
but no, I mean
series.
DC reboots its continuity, which is the important thing. That's why we can have the Daily Planet being an online paper. We can have Wayne Enterprises doing electric cars, and we can have the Waynes getting shot in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s.
I know, yeah. I mean, God, it's like the trauma. I think Absolute Batman, for those of you that have not read it, it is, I mean, it is an absolute masterclass in the origin story of Batman being revamped, but in the most cruel way, and it's a psychological horror.
Mhm.
I think it's absolutely one of the best books I've read recently. It's the number one comic book by readers. I think they said almost for in the US. I
Yeah,
haven't looked at international numbers, but it is the number one book. Like DC, I think holds like the top, the first like what, like 8 spots out of the 10 for comic books right now. That's
and I'm happy
amazing.
for it. Yeah.
They
Well,
need it.
competition create when 2 companies compete, only the consumer benefit. The consumer benefits usually. But
That's true.
going back to the original question, Kyle Rayner was never wanted to be a hero and ended up growing conceivably through the universe to be one of the best incarnations of that hero by his own perseverance. Nobody trained him. He did it by himself. He had to do it by himself for survival, judged by the heroes, comparing him to his predecessors, and surmounted it.
Impressive. Like that is probably one of the best. So you setting a bar. I like this though. So folks, when y'all come on this show, I need that level of detail coming out of this because I like that. Like my man put it out there. Like this is why Kyle. So most def. Now I need to know Hobgoblin because I'm a Spider-Man number one
Mhm.
Spider-Man fan. Hobgoblin, why Hobgoblin?
Because he chose to be a villain. He logically is like he if you've ever read the original stuff, somebody found the Green Goblin gear and
Mhm.
he paid the guy, killed the guy, and he's like, I now have all the supervillain stuff. I could probably do this better than they can. And again, he chose his path. He made himself better. And again, I'm talking about the original. I'm not talking Jason Masondale. He freaking killed the character for me.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Uh, Phil Urich, he gets a raw deal. I think the writers have given Phil Urich a raw deal as the current Hobgoblin. But the OG Hobgoblin is somebody who basically tried to consciously become a villain for economic reasons, for basic, I don't want to even say for fun per se, but he chose his path and logically, I mean, he could have stopped any time. He did not, and he didn't have to do this. He wants to do this. And I think that's just always interesting, wanting to get himself beaten up, wanting to get, again, make himself better to get himself into this race. And so, yeah, the Roger Kingsley stuff, like, I don't, it never was Ned Leeds. The whole, if you know the story of why it was Ned Leeds, is funny in a sad way. But Roger Stern always wanted to be Roger Kingsley, and he wanted that mystery to go through. So, I mean, one of my favorite Spider-Man covers, I actually used to have it, is a picture of the Hobgoblin in this burning building, after beating the hell out of Spider-Man. I love that as my absolute favorite comic cover.
Wow, have you ever now? I guess let me ask a question. Have you ever recreated that image like on your shelf?
I tried making it into a photo many a year ago when I got into action figure photography. So, I mean, it takes space. That's the problem. So I'd rather, and I might still write, now that my photography's gotten better since I did that, I should really try that again. Yeah, I got the Hobgoblin figure over there. I got plenty of flame effects. I can do it.
I say I want to see it. Now we gotta get them to do it, folks, because I want
Mhm.
to see it. This is interesting because heroes and villains I think are very iconic for
Yeah,
how we determine who we are as people and
and
who we
both these
identify with.
and both these guys, in some ways, one was for it's like the hero was forced to become a hero, not by choice. I mean, he could have given it up at the same time. Kyle became and persevered to be and kept going by his own force of will to be a better hero, just the same way Roger Kingsley, by his own ego, made himself become a better villain, tracking down the goblin formulas, being able to go toe to toe with Spider-Man, trying to outthink him, trying to become his own crime lord. So I guess it's because that these guys did it by choice, because they wanted to better themselves in their own path, is why I like them so much.
And I think that says a lot because it says a lot about you, which I like as a person that we forge out on our own. Like whether the choice is either thrust upon us or we're taking on the choice to do something better for ourselves or for our
Mhm.
families or whatever. I respect that. Very, very unique. Very unique.
I'm weird.
Nah, you're not weird. I think that's actually a cool thing. Now, this actually follows up to I was going to ask, and it was kind of funny. I sat and I thought about this question. I said, should I ask him his favorite movie? And I said, nah. I said he's a geek just like me. I gotta ask him what his favorite comic book movie is because the comic book movie does kind of tell where you're at with your fandoms. And again, absolutely phenomenal choice. Why is this out of all the movies you could have picked? Why is this the one?
Not one and a half. What half the reason is why you think, and the main reason though is not going to be why you think.
All right, so
Half the
folks,
reason, of course,
so wait, let's get the folks out there. For folks that are probably thinking it, I'm gonna probably say it's Wesley Snipes.
nope.
Okay, then that's what I was thinking. So what should I be thinking?
Well, the half reason, first of all, of course, the club scene is still going to be one of the most iconic things ever. Period. The club scene is iconic. You can't go wrong with it. The music, set the pace, it set the tone. Everything was great. The reason why I love Blade is Deacon Frost. He
Interesting.
succeeded. He had his evil. He was the perfect villain. His underlings failed. He didn't kill them. He might have punished them, but he never killed them. He had a plan for everything. The guy was wearing freaking sunblock to be out in the sun. He had his evil master plan. And he did his evil master plan. He became the blood god. But despite that, Blade still beat him. So it proves that one, they say a hero is judged by his adversaries. He beat that adversary. Also, not by Deus Ex Machina. They set the rules of the movie of how he would win and things like that. It wasn't like somebody found the anti-spell. Nope, that stuff was already, all those weapons and everything else was all in continuity. But despite all that, Deacon became the blood god. He won. He succeeded. It's like Indiana Jones. The Nazis opened the Ark. They won. But Blade still defeated that. So that's one of the reasons why I love Blade. We had an awesome protagonist and an antagonist that was on par or actually better than him, and he still beat him.
Huh. So this broaches a couple of questions. So did you like the aspect that kind of following something that I'm actually working on as a separate project, the hero's journey, that Blade actually kind of was created by, Deacon Frost.
Oh
Because
yeah, no.
Frost bit his mother.
The prodigal son defeats the father. Yes, that the 2.0 beats the 1.0. But the thing is, he wasn't the 2.0.
Well said. I like that because that it does bring that that dichotomy that he's created by the enemy, but then the enemy wanted to use him, but he ends up using what he kept thinking that was weaknesses, but they were actually his strengths.
But it didn't matter because Deacon still did it. He still won. He completed his goal, and I loved that. And that's I hate a stupid villain. I hate it when a villain's about to go X, Y, and Z, and all of a sudden the one guy who he pissed off decides to betray him at the last minute, or the kid runs over with the magical thingy. I hate those types of victories. It was just nope. Blade sliced him in half. That scene when Blade sliced him in half and his body went flying and then pulled itself back together, and Blade takes off the glasses. What the?
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. That line was one I always think of, and I always like some motherfuckers ice skating uphill. I love that.
I mean, I love Blade and Blade 2. Yeah, Blade 3, but
Triple H, yeah, and the whole, yeah. I mean, but I think that movie was making fun of itself. Blade 3 with Blade 2.
If it wasn't for Blade 3, but if it wasn't for Blade 3, we never would have gotten Deadpool.
That Deadpool Wolverine, really, we wouldn't have gotten
Ryan Reynolds playing what's his name?
Right,
was Deadpool in that movie. He was still Deadpool in that movie without being Deadpool.
And then we had X-Men Origins Wolverine. Oh God, Wolverine Origins, whatever they called it. I can't remember that, but there's just some. Yeah, we don't talk about that, but we do. But we laugh at it though, because
even he's killed it off 3 times, so he's made the point.
But again, I like this kind of interwoven theme into what you like, and I guess this prompts a question before we go further, which is you said something interesting, which is I don't like a stupid villain. And I'm the same way. I like a villain that actually will kind of outsmart the hero, but then the hero has to find a way to kind of turn that page and get the upper hand. You said it with oh, Prime gets killed, Ironhide and Prowl when we were talking backstage. And that prompted this thought. I was like, man, he's right. But then you get Starscream get obliterated by Galvatron and it broke your heart. And I'm wondering, is this kind of been how you've always looked like when we had Cobra Commander get turned and kind of, once a man,
yes. What can I say? Yeah, Chris Latta rolls. What can I say? I mean, well, actually, I hate cartoon Cobra Commander. I loved comic book Cobra Commander.
I can agree.
I hated cartoon Serpentor. Despised cartoon Serpentor. One of the
but they were campy. They were built to be campy. So I think that's why you hate them, because it's true things. It's if you think about it, like Rita Repulsa or Lord Zed. Lord Zed was kind of, I would say, a campy villain, but he was still smart.
Right.
But Rita was I'm just going to make a monster and just and send it down. Lord Zed was the one that kind of, ran that back. Starscream, even people oh God, what is another villain I could think of? Destro. Who doesn't love Destro?
Oh no, my favorite episodes of Transformers, Starscream's Brigade, when he made Bruticus, because it showed him planning, setting up, following through. Technically, he won until Bruticus got sucker punched by Menasor at the end of the episode. I know that episode by freaking by heart. He made Bruticus. Bruticus beat the hell out of Devastator. He picked up Megatron. Megatron actually surrendered, and the Thundercon sucker punched him. So,
no, see, cool. So,
he
folks,
won.
see, this is something interesting that you get to hear. It's these deeper themes that I think carry, again, interwoven into what we like a villain I like, and I think if you like Lord of the Rings, see, Sauron is a great villain. Saruman, great villain, but I'm gonna go to the Hobbit and say I like Smaug because he taunted and talked, and I love that because when you get a villain that will talk, like where are you, Bowman? Like and you like this little human with a non-magical arrow is gonna stop a freaking ancient red dragon. The D&D nerd in me was like, hell no. But he pulled it off.
That
And
was
you
that was
gotta love
literally
it.
the first critical hit rolled.
Oh yeah, that dude straight that 20.
Exactly.
And then he had inspiration from his son. He was like, just hold this, stand still. um, bad parenting. Probably not the best moment to have your son get ready to be incinerated by a red dragon with you there. But you know, interesting. I love this theme. I'm hoping that it carries more through what we're gonna go through. So
Oh, you're gonna like. Yeah, I
because
got a feeling.
because this kind of leads with all the Sentai talk into your favorite Sentai show, which is Jetman.
Mm-hmm.
So, my man, I'm interested. Why, out of all the Ranger shows, and I'm gonna
Black
say,
Condor. The man fights like he's bar brawling. His first episode, he freaking grabs one of the mooks by the freaking cojones and uses that to beat the hell out of him. He was, yeah. And then, and in the end, his final fight at the end, he didn't, spoiler for a show that's 35 years, he didn't survive.
Is this one of the first shows? Because I actually was trying to read a little bit about it in preparation for our
Mhm.
Tokusatsu episode. I don't know if this is one of the earlier shows where we actually had Ranger characters past, because in Kamen Rider we got a lot of riders that were like in Kamen Rider Kabuto Heisei era.
Well,
That show killed off like 4 riders prior to the end of the show.
yeah, but well, first of all, it had two of my favorite things. I like a fallen hero. In this case, though, he was already kind of evil. They brought over, but it had him a duel to the death. Where we actually had death. I mean, he was drinking, he was smoking cigarettes, and it also had a broken helmet. I freaking love a broken helmet.
They
When you
need to
see
bring
like
that
the
back.
helmet, when you see the face coming underneath of it. So it had all my themes. It's like the rest of Jetman. The owl was pretty cool. He was the super strong guy. The actor who played the yellow one also played in Die Ranger. He turned into the turtle. Believe it or not.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, it's surprising to see how many actors and stuff also change between the shows.
Oh yeah, because there were several that actually, even up until I would say currently into Reiwa, we for those that don't know, we'll go into this next week on the
Yeah,
Toku episode. But like Reiwa is the current era. Heisei is the era that started, I think, in the early '90s. It was like '89 to like '92 era, and that goes upwards now. So Jetman kind of falls right in that border between the previous era and this and the Heisei.
Jetman was originally supposed to be Mighty Morphin.
Yep, I didn't find that out.
Yeah, Jetman was originally supposed to be Mighty Morphin before they changed it to Jew Ranger, which because they just figured the dinosaurs were more marketable, and they were absolutely right.
100%.
Though I'm sorry, they're not. Sidebar. There's only two. It's only three of them. Only three of them are dinosaurs.
So if we talk about Zoo Ranger, that's Tyrannosaurus Rex,
Mighty Morphin Power
Triceratops.
Rangers. They call
Yeah,
it. They have a Dino Buckler, but There's a mastodon and a saber-toothed tiger.
That's, you know what, you're
And a
right.
dragon.
Yeah, and a saber-tooth tiger comes in, which he's actually not even from that. He's from a whole different series. If you guys didn't know, again, we'll get into that next week because uh, Dave and I could
Anyway,
probably go
I'm
down this
nerding. I'm
whole.
nerding. I'm
Yeah,
nerding.
we're nerding a little bit, but see, I love this because this is how you get to know and understand. Because I looked at Jetman, and I remember watching like I was at like Otakon one year, and I remember there was they had like very weird rooms late at night, and they would show like some of the like they would like dub over these things in really bad English. And I
Oh,
would
good.
remember like walking through a room that they had something like this in there, and I watched an episode, and I was like, okay, interesting.
I loved Otakon. When I used to go to Otakon, I loved the live action movies. That's all I was doing. I saw some of the. That's where I came across some of my favorite movies. My old DVD collection that I got rid of. Wild Zero. Oh God, what was this? Bio Zombie. Oh my God! When I saw Bio Zombie at Otakon, that was. I died.
Did you ever see
Um,
Returner at Otakon? The
I got
Returner.
Return. I used to have Returner.
I have it. I found the DVD
Uh,
I have to show it to you. I'll send
oh
you
no,
a
I
picture.
I have the DVD. Have you ever seen Versus? That's a fun one. You've not
Yes,
seen.
Versus is awesome.
Yeah, for those of you, there's two types of people. You either have seen Versus or you just need to see Versus, and if you haven't, you need to see Versus. Um, it's one of the best low budget Asian movies I have ever seen. I cannot describe any of the plot, but it just gets more and more crazier.
And for those that were wondering with Returner, Returner is if you took Time Cop and made it better.
Yeah, Returner was good.
Because
I
Returner was
like
all
they
about
used to use-
time,
the
like
reason I saw
using the time.
Returner. People they used to use footage from that to saying that that was going to be a Transformers movie because they had this whole part of this
I
plane that flew in
Yep.
and it turned to the semi-robot form. Turned out it was possessed by an alien, and that was people were like, "Oh, we got clips of the live-action Transformer movie," and I'm like, "Oh, I'm a sucker."
Think we all are. How many times have we all gone like just doom scrolling and we'll, like I saw something recently, and I don't know if you saw this was the Doomsday. People said, oh, in China when they did their Disney announcements, they had a poster that was actually AI created, and somebody made it look like it was a tarp hanging in the, I guess the arena that they were doing this thing, and I had to like Google it, and there was just like people were like, oh, this is not AI, I swear, and it's like, of course, you could tell it's obvious AI because
Oh
it's
yeah,
how the way it looked. I was like, do you think Disney's gonna let you take pictures? One, I don't care how well you could sneak something in, they're just not gonna get over on us like that. But I've seen a lot. I think we all see it. But with Sentai, let's bring it back to Sentai. Because again, this show,
mhm.
besides the heroes and like you said, that you like a fallen hero.
Yeah. You see those? Well, I like the photo, but also you see those the three villains that are back there.
Yes.
The one on the far right, his name is Gray. That's the one that Black Condor fought. Amazing. He was the honorable villain. If that was a Dungeons and Dragons character, he was lawful evil. And
Oh.
so, I mean, if you ever like, I could sit there and literally watch, type on YouTube, Black Condor versus Gray duel, and they had a rivalry, and that's what kind of it's like. There's the show, but I was like, you have the subplot that gets going through. It's kind of like in Kamen Rider Ryuki. You got the main show, but you were watching between Zolda and Wuja. That was actually a better subplot.
Or if you go into Deca Ranger and you got Deca Master, because everybody
Well,
was like, because when we got him, Doggy Kruger as Deca Master, everybody cared more about his subplot than
exactly, like
than
that type of
anybody
thing.
cared about
That's
the other Rangers at all. It was like
the
screw the
Jetman stuff
Rangers.
was okay, but that's specifically why Jetman's my favorite. It's like that characterization of this dark guy who's still, again, forced to be a hero. Gee, there's a theme here.
Do you know? Didn't we say this? It's like, and this is so funny because I didn't even think to make this correlation, and I love seeing it because it's making me understand how I can approach even some more cool ideas with you going forward in the future. Or like when we talk about something, I understand your perspective better now.
Mhm.
That's dope. That's dope. And folks, this is old. This is like old school, so you can watch this. It's not on. So
I think it's on Shout. Shout TV might have it.
I think they do because I know Amazon just did that whole thing with Common Writer. So I
Yes.
don't know if this is going to be making that move over too. Because I know there's a lot of people in the Sentai community that are talking about that, like, oh, we're going to start losing our Ranger shows. Um, when we find out, we'll talk about it. But let's move on to this one. Now, this is kind of a interesting thing because I feel like TV is we don't really watch TV like we
I
used
don't
to.
watch much TV. That was actually my hardest question to answer for you.
And I figured it was, but that's why I like asking it because I don't watch a lot of TV myself. Like I literally will unless it's like House of the Dragon or like X-Men 97 or like something like that level where like I need to catch it every week.
Don't have time.
Yeah, when do we have time as being a dad, you work, events, things, and then it was like, oh wait, I finished and I'm like too tired. So I get it. And then we YouTube as well as this. So I appreciate you. Just so you know, I do appreciate you taking your time with me tonight because I know we both have busy days. So much appreciated to you. So where you could be watching one of these great shows that you love, can you give me in whichever order you want? I pick the show that you would like to talk about
I
first
mean,
that you love.
my hero, I was watching with my daughter. We were both enjoying it, and again, probably a show that caught me off guard. If you have not watched My Hero, you have to suffer through the first couple episodes of the freaking main character crying too many damn episodes. But once, one of the things I like about this show is it's also very good on power scaling because while Deku is the main character and he is kind of a walking MacGuffin, everybody is almost that he's not Goku level. He's not like one guy who can do the one thing.
Oh, he's not
Um,
Ichigo. That they really Viz did actually step out of that trope.
yes, they do. So it's got it's a beautiful world building to it. My personal favorite character is the character Bakugo. Uh, my daughter love uh, my daughter loves Todoroki. And Todoroki's story is absolutely amazing. One interesting thing with Bakugo is he doesn't really have much of a story, but what's funny is when you actually see his family, he actually has the most stable family of everybody and still ends up being this jerk.
Ironically enough, he really does.
He
Bakugo is my
does.
favorite character.
I
He's
mean,
my favorite.
that's and he develops again a beautiful redemption arc. His story is really a redemption arc of being a bully to becoming a peer while still trying to be a bully. Again, I'm not a big Dragon Ball Z fan, but Vegeta is my favorite character,
Oh
which
yeah,
you could draw a correlation with the
you.
personality line.
I was get out my head because I was thinking the same thing just now. I was like, holy shit, you could really compare him to Vegeta. He does get like kind of that because if you watch in the earlier seasons, it's kind of like when he's in before he got into the classes and becomes an actual hero for training. He's doing that whole like I can be a villain because they look at him like, oh, he hates Deku, he hates Midoriya. Let's get him, and like he
Like,
I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but I feel like the show's been around for a while now.
yeah,
It's been time. Bakugo's redemption arc is, I think,
long, broad.
it's deep and it
It's
really it brings his character full circle.
but
Like
it's
you
very
understand it.
it's such a slow, gradual plane that you're able to really appreciate the journey to it. Um, one of my and what I also like is again the breakdown of it of who he is. There's a again early seasons where he's duels the main character. Like they sneak out in the middle of the night to have like, okay, I'm just gonna fight you at 12 o'clock at night type of thing. And the character Deku realizes that that while Bakugo acts like a hothead wild, like all his stuff is actually very well calibrated. He knows his abilities so well that he is that good. He's not second class by far. It's like he's not wild, he's not erratic. He acts like he is, but he's actually precision, and it's just the respect that they have to it is just so nice.
That level of control that he has to
Yes.
know what he can do, and when he starts learning nuances to his abilities that he's able to like you said, power scaling is just for him. Like you do see like how we in traditional like the I would say like the tropes in Viz where like there's like those training arc episodes. Like he was doing that always in the background.
They break a lot of the tropes in this show, which is one thing. I mean, there are tropes. It set its own tropes, to be honest, but some of those typical anime tropes are not there. Like So again, that's one of the reasons why I enjoy that show. Even some of the filler isn't that filler-esque, um, which is one of the reasons why I ended up dropping Bleach. But
I absolutely love
there's
Bleach.
a lot of filler in Bleach.
No, Naruto has more filler than Bleach.
I never watched Naruto.
We have to.
Time.
I know. But Bleach.
Justice League Unlimited is probably my comfort show. I could probably listen to Michael Rosenbaum as the Flash over and over again. It has possibly one of my favorite moments is when they go against Gorilla Grodd, and the Flash is describing it to Green Lantern. He's like, they got into a car with a gorilla, and the Green Lantern's looking at the Flash like, what? He's like, dude, we both have a Martian on speed dial. Give me a break on this one. Like, that was such a beautiful world moment. The show brings in story arcs. It's got scripts by Peter David, by Warren Ellis. It is probably, in my opinion, one of the best, especially for domestic comics, just brings it all together from the voice cast, the animation. When they do long story arcs, they go well. The stuff with Task Force X was great. The clones, which were basically the Super Friend extra characters. I mean, everything was just so well done.
I have to ask this. Out of all the episodes, out of all the seasons of Unlimited, what do you deem the best episode?
Oh God,
I have one in my mind.
I mean, honestly, you got to go with in some ways, the last episode when Superman does the speech and he fights Darkseid. The whole show builds up to that whole scene of him going, I walk around this world like it's made of cardboard. I have to pull my punches. But you, big guy, you can take it. What we have here is a rare time for me to cut loose. And then Superman flies in and does that slow-mo punch, and that impact goes through the entire show builds up to that scene of him punching Darkseid full force. And it's like, if that does not send nerd chills down your arm, I'm actually getting hair in my arms right now just thinking about it. The hair's rising. There's so many good things in there. The Justice Lord episode was amazing. The stuff with the Green Lantern Corps was great. Again, I mentioned the Gorilla Grodd episodes are fantastic. Any episode with the Rogues I loved.
Oh, yeah.
So, Trickster, you're off your meds again, huh? Yep. Well, go turn yourself in. You beat me again, Flash. Like, that's like those moments. It catches the nuances of the characters so well.
What about the episode that, for me, quintessentially, I think encapsulated why Unlimited is probably one of the best, and we'll stay in my top 3 is Batman Beyond. Us getting the answer that
we got the epilogue. Yes,
we finally got the conclusion that we needed to get.
I actually consider that a Batman episode. I don't consider that a Justice League episode. If that makes sense.
Okay. No, I get it, because they did do that a couple times.
Because in that same episode, that's also when Superman says the speech saying that Batman's more of a hero than any of us will ever be, type of thing. So it's, epilogue is amazing, but it's like it kind of got shoehorned because that actually should have been Batman Beyond. Epilogue was great. We got to see the Phantasm again. We got to see. You could also do the episode where Batman sits with Ace and Ace dies. That was
a hard.
And there were so many in Justice League Unlimited. There's so many nuances to it that made the show to watch with kids, but was made for adults. Like with Supergirl and her clone. Like, how did you know that she was a clone? Well, she talks in her sleep. You know that she was sleeping with another guy, type of thing. They did those types of subtle things. And
oh, hell yeah.
I can't help it. I will ship Batman and Wonder Woman in that show.
What do you give the man that has everything $1 million? When they had to give Superman that gift in the Fortress of Solitude, and he was like, "What are you giving him? Money?" Like, she has like this really fancy gift, and that's when they fought. I forgot who it was.
The man who has everything was actually, that was based off an Alan Moore story called the Man Who Has Everything, where he fights Mongol with the plant on his chest.
Thank you.
That was trying to remember the villain in that. That was an Alan Moore comic. That was he wrote that one.
Folks, you gotta love when you have another nerd friend that could do exactly what you're thinking. And it was like, I forgot the villain. And he's like, Alan Moore did this. And then it's like, hey, wait, it was Mongol. I'm like, yes.
Oh yeah, well, Mongol, freaking underrated DC villain. Never, will never catch a break.
Poor guy never would. So what would you say was your so now because you love your villains,
Hmm.
and I mean Dark Side, let's take Dark Side out of the equation.
Well,
Who was I'm gonna take him off the table because I mean he's
no,
Thanos.
no, no, no. It's not though. I mean, Tom Clancy's Luthor is still the damn best DC villain.
Yes.
Not Tom Clancy, Clancy Brown. I'm
Clancy
looking
Brown.
at Tom
Yeah.
Clancy with the Jack Ryan on there, but Clancy
Yeah.
Brown's Luthor, and God, dear God, his performance again. I liked Mike Rosenbaum as the Flash, but when those two guys switched personalities,
Oh, great episode.
and the part when the Flash is in Luthor's body and he's in the men's room, they actually showed him in the supervillain men's room, and he's one of the guys is like, "Aren't you gonna wash your hands?" And he's like, "No, because I'm evil."
Well,
And then Mike Rosenbaum like runs to the Flash and he takes off the mask and he's like, "I have no idea who this man is."
I do remember that. See, like I need to find these on Blu-ray and just keep them because I think they're it's funny because my youngest she loves cartoons and I've gotten her into like watch Spider-Man and
Mhm.
like I haven't gotten into the X-Men yet, but
If
I
you want to
think
watch
Justice League.
a better one to watch with your daughter is watch Young Justice with her. Young Justice was also very well done, but it's got a much better continuity plot to it. And any show that can turn a character like the Sportsmaster and actually make him into a credible villain, I drink to you, writers.
Cheshire and freaking Sportsmaster. Never thought I would ship them as a couple, and you made them more dangerous than Deathstroke.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Plausibly. Plausibly.
They did get a power up at one point in like
Yeah, I mean
the
they
third
also
season.
Young Justice wasn't perfect, and they actually made the Joker into kind of a C-list character,
Yeah, but
voiced
again,
by
they
Brent
remember they were.
Spiner.
But remember what they told us though. They were like, we were trying to build like the team that was going to be like Aqualad
Oh yeah,
and
no. You know what was
Artemis.
one thing that was really cool with Young Justice is it had Icon in it, which I thought was kind of cool.
Dude, the fact that we got Static in there and we had gotten several characters, like Blue Beetle became a mainstay in like season
Right,
two
but
and
the
three.
specific that brought the Milestone universe into it, I thought was very interesting.
And I was so glad that we got like Vixen episodes. Like, and I'm not saying this for representation, which even though I do, but I feel like there's other characters that like if you watch like the Zeta Project and if you watch Static, like those were such great cartoons that were so like when DC melded their universes on the WB when we were I guess
Static
already
was
in
the
our
best thing they
20s.
was one of the best things they ever did, and then they brought Green Lantern into Static, like, and they brought Static into the future episode. We actually saw him grown up,
Yep, and that
so
was dope. Dope.
still hadn't cut his hair. He had the natural dreads.
Facts. So now I got to ask this because I like Jack Ryan.
Mhm.
Why? What about this show? I haven't watched this show.
Oh, dude, if you have not watched the show, first of all, it's nothing to do with any of my nerd stuff on it. Well, I mean, one thing that's they make Jack Ryan fallible. Like I
Interesting.
watched the first season of Reacher. I was amused by it, but I didn't love it because they made Reacher too perfect. He
He's
had
a
a plan
superhero.
for everything. He was accountable. There was no tension on this one. In Jack Ryan, he fails. He utterly fails sometimes, and there's repercussions. Well, my wife and I are actually watching it together, and we're on the third season right now. Um, and it's also a little scary because some of the things that were predicted in that show that was used as plot points. Season 2, which was done in 2019, they end up deposing the Venezuelan prime minister and end up putting a U.S. sympathetic prime minister in place.
Go
That
figure.
was filmed in 2019. The season that we're watching right now was filmed in 2021. I think Russia's about to invade Ukraine. Like the scriptwriters predicted all this stuff. So that itself is just, I'm not trying to get political. I'm just saying they brought these
No,
things up to it. And then
that's
the show
awesome.
itself, it's realistic. There's the military operations are done right. Jack Ryan himself has every reason to be the way he is. whether it be his physical prowess, you see him training, you see him practicing. He's a marine. He's a marine who has his PTSD. It's a very human. It's a good political thriller with very human characters. That's the best way of putting it.
So I see. To me, I love Krasinski.
Oh,
So
and that's the thing. And he went from The Office to this, and the casting is impeccable casting. I can't remember the guy playing Greer, but everyone is perfect at what they do. So
I like that.
Yeah.
Would you recommend Ghost War, the movie that's out now, as like
No,
a primer to get you to watch the show?
just start on season 1.
So don't watch the movie first.
I
Watch
mean, I
the
haven't watched
show
the movie
first.
yet. We're watching the show in order, and then we're going to end with the movie.
Okay.
I
Because
mean,
I
there's
was gonna
reasons.
watch the movie first to see if I really liked the show, and
Watch the
then if
first 2 episodes.
oh, yeah, I do three. I'm the guy that does three because I feel like everything, like when you were talking about anime,
Just do that. Honestly, just do that because that'll give you the best feel to it.
and you feel like it picks up, like it's not like because Reacher caught me first episode. Is this gonna be like I get first two, like the first three? I'm gonna be like I want to do four, I want to do five.
It's a good story. I mean, it's you will enjoy it. It will not burn you out.
That I like to hear because I do get fatigue from too much of like the hyper
Because
violence or anything like
because
that.
also each season is also taking place in different settings. Like the first one was taking place in Lebanon and France, and the second season now took place in Venezuela and a little bit of England. Now the third season so far is taking place in uh, the Ukraine area right now. So each one's also taking different directions of the thriller.
See, and this is why, folks, I love hearing these things because much like Mario did tell me last time, sold me on watching Criminal Intent. This definitely gives me more of an inclination to want to watch this. So I want to always I like to always do this because I don't know if you watch Chris Van Vliet, the big wrestling podcaster.
I haven't
Um,
watched. I mean, I've listened. I've watched some of his. I mean, I've watched his interview with Danhausen, which was amazing. But
oh yeah, that I think one of my favorites. So
you just
he
doxed me.
always uh, oh I did. Yikes.
It's okay. If you go to my
I
Instagram
doxed him.
profile, you're gonna see it. I doxed myself. I should just
So
because it's
yeah,
tied to my Facebook account.
so he doxed himself. I should have gone through and crossed that out. That was my bad. And actually, I could do that in post, so I could
It's okay.
actually go through and fix this. So, but this is where you find him on YouTube. If you guys have not, definitely go to pick him up on YouTube. Definitely go follow him on Instagram. He's gonna make some edits, so you will find him under just TruStarscreamer. And out of respect, I'm gonna go like that. But I'm gonna do this. I always like when I watch Chris Van Vliet, he ends his show talking about grace, right? Because he's very he's like all about faith, and I believe in positivity, right? I think you kind of gleaned that from getting to know me. So I like asking people what are like when you have like a real shit day, like your day, like today was kind of a rough day for me, but at the end of it, what are like three positive things that you can look at, come back to, that bring you back to that happy center?
I mean, my family's always going to be the number one. I mean, again, I got over 900 action figures. I'm 47 years old. I'm overweight. I'm wearing a Decepticon hat. I got gray hair. I collect action figures. I know more about cartoons than I know about freaking history. I couldn't tell you when the War of 1812 was, type of thing. And if you've ever seen The Woman I Married, I don't know how the hell that happened. I mean, when I interviewed for my last sales job, I said I did all the Star Trek quotes. I said, by the way, this is who I'm married to, and they hired me on the spot. Said, you got to be a hell of a salesman. My daughter, who's my sidekick, my clone, so know that I can come home to these things, is always going to be what's going to pull me out of it. So that's everything else is just circumstantial. I'm not going to say my toys because toys are objects. I actually just purged I purged a huge part of my collection last month. I mean, I still have again too much stuff, and I'm not out of it. I'm not out of it, but I sold almost all my Transformers and I sold almost all my classified. Like, I'm out of those. I told myself I'm done. Hasbro's pricing me out, and it's like I'm not getting any satisfaction out of that stuff. So that's gone. I mean, they still got me on Marvel Legends. Don't get me wrong.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I mean, after that, I mean, if I have a rough day, I've got my two ways of decompressing are usually involving either cooking something or doing my toy photography because those are two things in life that I can control. I'm not the. I mean, I live with. I am in sales. I live with chaos. I have to deal with. I have to apologize for factors that I can't control. And so if I'm down in my basement, I got my music going on and I got my camera in hand and I can set something up. If the photo is effed up, it's because it's of my control. The photo comes out amazing, it's because of my control. My cooking, the food comes out amazing, it was my control. Everything, the flavors didn't work out. I got no one to blame but myself, but it was still me who did it. And I can take the responsibility. And hey, it was my screw up. I'm not going to blame it on the pot. I'm not going to blame it on the grill. So
Man,
blame it on the grill. No.
I was about, get out my head. I was thinking, blame it on the rain. So you gave me your family, photography. We'll tie cooking in there. Was there a third one, or do you just want to end it on the cooking?
I mean, that's my big thing. Those are my big things. I mean, I'm a nerd. I can't say I'm a simple guy because I deal with all this stuff. I memorize all this stuff. I love learning. I love music. I mean, there's so many things I could tell you. I've had a weird growing up. I've got a strange family dynamic. I'm in a blended family where I'm either the firstborn, the secondborn, the sixthborn, or the seventhborn, depending on how you look at birth order. Yeah.
Oh, we could definitely go back and forth on that. And because I know for me, I'm also part of a blended family as well. Like
Mhm.
my kids are actually currently with my wife. We're a blended family
Yeah.
because my teenage daughter, she is from a previous relationship that my wife had, and then our littlest one is ours together, and then my son from my previous relationship. So I understand that dynamic, and I
Just don't sleep
myself
on those
am
middle
one of
children. That's all I
those.
can say. Never forget about the middle kid.
Oh yeah, I'm ironically enough in my dad's side of the family, I am the middle
Yeah.
child. I am the not the oldest because my older sister is the oldest, and then my older brother. Then you have me at 48, my little brother who's 34, my little sister.
Yeah.
So I am literally smack dab. I'm the middle kid,
Oh,
so I
I
understand.
got so many. I mean, I got other ways of knowing I'm screwed up. My dad was born in 1928, so technically I'm the world's youngest baby boomer if you go by bloodlines type of thing. Um, Here's a fun one for you for my perspective in life. I understand I'm a Caucasian straight male, but I lived in Alabama and I'm Jewish. So I know everything what it's like to being treated and as a minority and being prejudiced against. So I have that weird perspective in life. I used to joke around when I was in Alabama. I'd sit down. The two albino kids would say, "You need representation."
But you know what though? I think what sets us up for that like adversity, if it doesn't define us, it
Oh
helps
no,
fortify us.
but I'm just saying,
And
it gives. But all these things in life, it's like I don't need like. While this stuff is saying, you ask me what makes me happy. That's all I need to be happy is I come home to stability. I come home to something that's grounded. I've lived with chaos my entire life from I'm not this is not a sob story, but just from the upbringings that I had, from the being lost in the shuffles on things. I come home, I see some smiles, and that's all I need.
I'm gonna tell you, I think that was probably the most beautiful way to end on that note. I'm gonna let you mic drop that stability. I absolutely think that this was amazing to have this time to sit with you. I appreciate you for sharing your story and your time because again, two things that we don't ever really we can always share our story, but we never get our time back. And again, folks, follow this man. He's doing some great stuff. He's a very good friend, and I'm looking very forward to getting to spend more time with him and getting to know him better. If there's nothing else, folks, follow him. And thank you again for breaking the ice with me.
It was a pleasure, man.
All right, y'all. Thank you, everybody, and we will catch you on the flip side. Peace.
Peace.